Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and today I've got a tutorial for you guys. It's been a bit since I've done one and well, not really. I guess I did the tassels not that long ago. I'd like to try and do at least one tutorial, some kind of sewing, at least once a month, so if not more. So let me know if you have ideas for other tutorials you'd like to see down below, and I'll try and then get those into the schedule as we go, as I'm planning out content for the channel. But today we're going to be talking about how to hack a round or scoop neck pattern into a V-neck. But before we get into that, today is Friday, which means we have a Love Notions Feature Friday pattern. And that pattern is the Serenity Sweater. I've not made this pattern up yet, but it's a really beautiful like crossover sweater. Really great as, you know, we get into the transitioning weather, or you can make it short sleeved, and crocheted fabric is like very in. Like real open knit, so like a light sweater knit can be really pretty for summer. Anyway, my code 10 Whitney will get you an additional 10% off that pattern, the $5, because it's $5 Feature Friday, $5 today only, and my code 10 Whitney will get you an additional 10% off that pattern. Also, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video, I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. We've got a whole bunch of fun things planned for August as well as September. Also, a lot of really fun things planned over on Instagram. So if you are on Instagram and you don't follow me yet, go follow me over there. If you love sewing content, there's going to be so much that's going to be happening in August and September over on Instagram as well. So make sure you're following me over there. And if you want to be apprised of the situations as we're going and don't want to miss out on any of the fun, like free fun, make sure you subscribe to the newsletter as well. I've got a link down there for that. We have a newsletter that goes out once a week, and they're pretty short, so short and concise, so hopefully not clogging up your inbox on that. Okay. Oh, also, before we get into this, if you are, you know, doing some pattern hacking, but really want a really great fitting pattern for yourself, Pattern Fitting 101 is opening up soon. So if you have taken it before or are interested, kind of been waiting to take my pattern fitting course, that is going to be opening up here soon to start in August. So the next round will be starting mid to end, well, kind of mid August. So stay tuned for that. There'll be more information coming on that as well. I'll be answering questions and all that kind of stuff. But getting on the newsletter is a great way to hear more and find out more information about that as well. Okay, let's talk about this tutorial. So a while ago, I had someone that requested a tutorial on how to hack a round or like a crew neckline into a V neckline. So that is what I have done today. So this is actually the Love Notions Classic t-shirt, and it actually has a view that's a V-neck, but there are quite a few patterns out there that don't have an option for a V-neck. So I'm showing you how I'm taking the scoop neckline actually of the Love Notions Classic and then showing you how to draft it into a V neckline. So this is the drafted neckline that I drafted. It's not the V neckline that comes with the pattern. It was the pattern I had out, and I've recently made a scoop neck version of it, so I'm like, it'll be good to show the differences, which is why I used it. But I'm going to be showing you not only how to hack that V-neck, but also how to draft the neckband that then goes into that. So we'll just be drafting the pattern pieces. Any questions on how to sew a V neckline and that sort of thing? I actually have a class, a knit sewing essentials class, where we go through how to do a t-shirt, how to sew with knits, how to do all sorts of things with knits, and how to make it. We're learning everything on a basic t-shirt. I show how to do a V neckline on the sewing machine as well as the serger and cover stitch. We use all the machines depending on what you have. But anyway, I'll link that class down below as well if you're interested. But yeah, we'll be drafting the pieces for the V neckline. Great thing if you've got a t-shirt pattern that you just love the fit of, that is a scoop or a crew neckline, and you just want some more options. Great option. Great option to turn that into a V neckline. Okay, without further ado, let's head on over to the cutting table, and I'm going to show you how to hack a V neckline onto a round or scoop necked top. Okay, so we're going to take any t-shirt pattern that you've got that you that has a round neckline. This one, particular one has a scoop, but if you've got a crew neckline, whatever, round neckline, I'm going to show you how to turn it into a V neckline, and it's very easy. So we'll adjust it. We're just working on the front pattern piece, but you do need your back pattern piece as well, because we're going to need that to draft our neckband. And then your sleeve piece will just stay the same. So this is a great way to take a great fitting t-shirt and give yourself some more options with necklines if it doesn't come with necklines. Again, this is the Love Notions Classic tee that I'm using, which actually does come with a V neckline. But I'm using the scoop version. I'll just show you how to draft that if your shirt doesn't. Okay, so what we're gonna do, if you have got a shirt that has you like the depth of the scoop neckline, we're just going to keep that point right where it is. This is the scoop. However, if you want to raise or lower your neckline, that is just as easy. So let's say you've got a scoop and maybe you don't want the V quite as high. From this center fold line, the center straight fold line right here, you can just raise it 1 inch and mark your point 1 inch above. Or if you want to lower it, if it's a crew neckline and you want to come down, decide how many inches you want to come down and mark your new point there. So it's wherever you want that neckline, that point of that V to hit, that's where you're going to choose that, okay? I'm just going to keep mine right where the end of the scoop is here, because that is my preference. And then we're going to take here a hip curve. It can be called a French curve, many different things, but this is a great tool to have in your arsenal with if you're doing any kind of pattern drafting, but really anything. It's great for truing lines and stuff, because we want our V neckline to actually have a little bit of curve to it. I just find that's a little bit more flattering. So what we're just going to do is we're just drawing a line. This is the beauty of changing necklines. It's very simple. And we're just going to go from this point up to our shoulder point. And again, I've got just ever so slightly, just a little bit of a curve. It's not a straight line, but it will appear straight on the body. So it's just, you're just using whatever curve you want. And I'm going to mark that in. All right. So this line right here is my new neckline for my V-neck, okay? And that's it. We are done drafting the V-neck on the body of the fabric. So now we're going to do some math and figure out how to draft our neckband. So for starters, and I know people are going to ask, do you need to remove seam allowances? No, if you're keeping the seam allowances the same, you don't need to remove seam allowances and add them back in. I find that's just an extra step. Is that technically the correct way? Probably. But, I know it is. If you're doing things the absolute correct way, we're not going to do that. This pattern has 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So, I want my neckband width to be the seam allowance, which in this case is 3/8 of an inch. And we're going to multiply that by 2 because I'm going to fold my neckband over on itself. So times 2. So 3/8 of an inch times 2 is 3/4 of an inch. And then how deep do I want my neckband? I like a 5/8 of an inch neckband. I think like a finished neckband width. I think that's really nice. So 5/8, and I need to multiply that by 2 because again, it gets folded over on itself, which is 1 1/4 inch. So that means I want my width to be 2 inches. And that is, most of my knit tops that I work with are 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So most of the time, if I'm drafting a neckband, it's almost always 2 inches. Okay, but that's how I got that number. Now, for the length of our neckband, we are going to do some measuring. So I'm going to start here at my new line. I am using this really cool round, what's it called? A curve runner. But you can use a straight tape measure, or even a flexible tape measure, because you can, the front's pretty easy. You can stand it up along that line and follow that curve if you'd like. It'll be a little bit more apparent in the back. But let's just measure. And again, this is half of the front. So we're just going to measure this. I start this at 0. And we're going to come up. And it ends here at 8 3/4. Okay. But I want to take my seam allowance off of this. So I've measured it at 8 Hopefully I'm still in frame here. but I want to take off that 3/8 of an inch seam allowance here. So that's going to be 8 3/8 for the front. Okay. Now this is half the front. So we're going to multiply this by 2 to get our total front. And that is going to be 16 3/4. Okay. So that is my front neckline. And I'm going to write it over here on this piece of paper because this is where we're going to draft it, our neckband. Okay, so my front is 16 3/4. All right, now let's, and again, our width of our band is going to be 2. Okay, set this aside. Now we're just going to measure our back neckline. And I can just go, this is a paper rotary cutter. I can just go ahead and cut that out. The key is that we want to end at the same shoulder point. Because then everything will fit with that back. All right. So there's our front all ready to go. All right, now our back, all we need to do is measure our back neckline. And again, you can use, make sure I'm all in frame. You can use, like I'll use this curve runner, but again, if you wanted to stand up a soft tape measure, just around, that's the back, around the back here to get your measurement, you can do that as well. I'm just going to start here, keeping in mind that both my front and back are cut on the fold, so I don't have seam allowances on this end. So we're going to measure this, and that is 4 5/8. So that's 4 5/8. Now we're going to take away the seam allowance here at the shoulder, which is 3/8. So that's going to give me 4 1/4 right there. And then we're going to multiply that by 2 because we have to have the other half of the back. So that is 8 1/2. Okay, so that is our back. Our back neckline is 8 1/2. Let's just cut out our back piece real quick. And again, we'll just use the sleeve that comes with the pattern because nothing on that changes. All right, there's our back piece. It's now ready to go. All right, so 8 1/2 is our back. So now we're gonna draft our neckband. And I'm doing all this in Sharpie. You probably just wanna do this in pencil. I just did it in Sharpie so you could see what I'm doing. All right, back is 8 1/2. So my back is 8 1/2. So we're going to add our front and our back together. And that is, let's see how well we can do math. Okay, 16 plus 8 is, let's see, 16 plus 8 is 26 minus 2, 24. And then we, 3/4 1/2 is 1 1/4 inches. So we've got 24, so 25 1/4 is the total. I'll verify that with my calculator here. 16.75 plus 8.5. Yes, 25 1/4. All right, I like my neck bands to be, we need it to be smaller because we want it to stretch to fit into the opening of the neckline. And I like my neck bands to be 85% of the neckline. So I want it 15% smaller. I want my neck band to be 15% smaller than my neckline. So I'm taking the 25.25 and I'm multiplying it by 0.85. I'm definitely using a calculator for this. Or 85%. And that actually gives me 21.46. So we're just going to round up to 21.5. So this is, what is this, math-wise? approximately 21.5, which is 21 and a half inches. Okay. So that's what I want my neckband to be, 21 and a half inches when it's finished. Now I will take away seam allowance because we'll have to sew the ends of this together, but I don't add that back in. It really works out fine, because we want it smaller anyway. So it, taking off a little bit for that, seam allowance, I never worry about it. Okay, so 21 and a half. I like to cut my neckbands out on the fold because I have my fabric folded anyway. So what we're going to do is, this is a straight edge here from my piece of paper, and 21 and a half, half of that is, let's see, 10 and a half, 10 and 3/4. 10 and 3/4 is half of 21 and a half. So I'm going to make, and I'm just doing a rectangle here. We're going to go up here to 10 and 3/4 and up here to 10 and 3/4. And then I am going to just square that off. Okay. Now, here's our fold, and we've made that 2 inches wide. Okay, so it's 2 inches wide by 10 and 3/4 long, which would give me 21 and a half when it's all opened up. But now with my V neckline, I want this to fit in. I want to give it that weird little cutout there so that I can sew my neckline at a V. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out our rectangle. Okay. And now we're going to fold it in half because that is how we would sew it. It's going to get sewn, folded in half. Just folding the end here, but you can fold the whole piece if you want. And now we want to take a 45-degree angle from this top over here to this area. And this should be 1 inch wide. And I am just going to bisect, basically. Okay, so basically what we are doing here is I want this to run perfectly. Well, here, let's do this. This would be easier to do. This is 1 inch. So we are going to make a box. This will be easier for you to see. I'm going to mark in 1 inch because the width with it folded is 1 inch. So I'm just going to mark this in like this. Okay. So this is a 1 inch box basically. So to get that 45-degree angle, I'm just going to cut from edge to edge right here. So I'm going from the folded edge up to the cut edge like so. And then let's just move that. We're going to cut that off so that our piece now looks like this. And if you, you can now sew it like you would a regular V neckline. So that is how we get the pattern piece that looks like almost like the ribbon end because that gets sewn right sides together, clipped into, and then when you fold it and turn it right side out, the neckband gives it that V. So here you go. That is the neckband, and that is how we turn a round neckline into a V-neck with its corresponding neckband. I hope that helps. Let me know if you have questions down below.